Across to Biswajeet Deb first for why the Trinamool believes that Mamata Banerjee is the ideal opposition captain in the Khela Hobe of 2024. You won in West Bengal where the BJP was historically weak, but facing Narendra Modi at the centre in 2024 is a whole different ball game. Why do you believe, Mr. Deb, that Mamata Banerjee is up for the fight and that she can beat Team Modi?
Well, good evening to all. I would like to categorically mention that 2021 election was under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, and we could see during that particular election Team Modi, including Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Amit Shah, they were all daily passengers, and they used to come daily. Now, in spite of their daily visit, which rose the COVID upsurge, ultimately the people of Bengal handed over them a humiliating defeat, and they had to return from Bengal empty-handed. Now, after this particular result, you see, the entire opposition in India, including the opposition leaders, the opposition parties, and the anti-BJP voters, the voters who are against BJP, they have some thought and they have a clear idea about the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, and they are really feeling that it is Mamata Banerjee who can lead the opposition, who can unite the opposition against this particular NDA government led by
Amit Malviya. Mamata Banerjee at this moment is arguably the most potent opposition leader, because if you see Sharad Pawar, for example, he's in government in Maharashtra but only as 1/3 of the alliance. Arvind Kejriwal leads a very small state. There is no Congress leader with a pan-India following, and therefore, even though she is restricted politically to West Bengal, especially on the back of that big victory in the assembly elections, the Trinamool believes that Mamata Banerjee can be the most formidable opponent against Narendra Modi in 2024. Is that a scenario that rattles the BJP?
Well, Rahul, let her first get elected as an MLA in West Bengal Assembly before thinking of challenging Prime Minister Modi. But having said that, we are in a democracy and everybody is free to throw their hat in the ring. But let's take a step back. The Prime Minister of India's job is not so uninspiring that anybody can aspire for it. You need a leader who has a vision for the country, which towers over the incumbent's vision or his governance. I don't see Mamata Banerjee has covered herself in glory as far as her governance is concerned and as far as the state of affairs in West Bengal is concerned. We've seen the most horrific post-poll violence in West Bengal after these assembly elections. We've seen the worst handling of pandemic in West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee in her last 10 years does not have even a single thing to her credit as far as turning around industry, employment, education, health infrastructure in Bengal is concerned. Yes, she may have won this mandate, but the BJP is a force to reckon with in Bengal today with 2.3 crore votes and 77 seats in the Assembly of West Bengal. So we are today the biggest opposition party in Bengal and by all means the alternate pole of Bengal politics.
Rajdeep, how are Mamata Banerjee's meetings in Delhi been? Is this an idea that's actively in motion of Mamata Banerjee emerging as the opposition captain, or is this just in the heads of the Trinamool leaders?
Look, Rahul, I think she's come for the first time to Delhi after a big Bengal victory. She's on a high. You know, she's got the wind behind her sails. So she clearly feels that, you know, her time in a way could well be now. However, you know, let's be very clear. One swallow doesn't make a summer. You know, winning a national election is very different to winning a state election. And we've seen this time and again. Delhi, you know, tends to sort of gravitate in the direction of whoever at that particular moment has the momentum. 2013 and Arvind Kejriwal had the momentum. Even challenged Mr. Modi in Varanasi. What happened in 2014 elections? 2018, you might recall Rahul Gandhi appeared to have the momentum when the Congress won 3 states, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. What happened in 2019 summer? So I think it is premature at this stage for either Mamata Banerjee or her supporters to position herself as the mascot who's going to take on Mr. Modi. And very interestingly, when she was asked this question, she said the next election is not Modi versus me or any leader, it's Modi versus the country. So I think she also recognizes that she can't overnight transform herself into the sole contender against Mr. Modi at this stage. I think at best she's making an effort to somehow or the other make herself a relevant opposition leader who can take on Mr. Modi as part of a wider coalition. I didn't see enough, Rahul, today to suggest that Mamata Banerjee is the sole leader of the opposition. Far from it. I think the challenge for the opposition, in fact, is how are you going to stitch together this coalition without necessarily projecting one leader? Can you have a front without a leader, particularly in this age where Mr. Modi and his supporters tend to make every election presidential, make it Modi versus who, as they did before the 2019 election. So I think Mamata Banerjee was testing the waters, rebuilding old relationships like those with Sonia Gandhi, Sharad Pawar, Arvind Kejriwal. But I think the real test, in a way, will come post Uttar Pradesh next year. Can the opposition sustain the momentum? Mamta has given them an opening, but I still don't think that the door is open to challenge Mr. Modi at the moment with this opposition unity.